but I really like both of these players. And one, because Dyllon Williams, the kid they flipped him from Missouri, he's just a firecracker. He's like a hornet running downhill, screaming downhill, hitting people. He's got great positional size. He checks a lot of boxes. Being in rural Alabama, tough SOB. I like this kid a lot. He's got some real shit to him. He's got it there at that safety position. That guy could be a starter 3 years from now. And then Quizenberry, we talked about him a lot this summer. It was weird because you knew that they were doing this dance where you didn't know if he was going to be a take or not. And it seemed like UK liked him, but they also got a new receivers coach, and Vince had been the one recruiting him. So it's like, well, what's going on here? He goes to Boyle County. They're the best high school football program in the state right now. They're kicking all kinds of ass. He's been their best player for 3 years. So why don't you just take him? And I thought that was going to happen. I mean, he camped. He was working out, and I put in a pick. I think you put in a pick. And then he never official visits. He official visits to West Virginia instead. And then, all of a sudden he shows up to Lexington for an OV, and he's a cat a few days later. I'm glad about it because I think mostly you can't let him go somewhere else and be awesome. Like that's my biggest thing is like there's a chance he's just awesome. I think there's a real chance he's awesome. It might be like a smaller percentage chance than usual because of the measurables, but I don't think you should take that chance on missing out on him, especially with the rosters expanding. So I'm glad they're taking a chance on this guy. I think unlike some of the other smaller receivers, like he will use his pads and hit you and run through you. He's played running back. And the game against St. Edward, that's like some high school football fan fiction. You're going and playing one of the most dominant programs in the country. St. Ed's wins Division I every year almost in Ohio. It's like 11 out of the last 15 or something. They are awesome. And Boyle County went up there. He had 3 touchdowns. He threw for 1, and then he picked off a pass. Like, that's just a dog. And I'm willing to take a gamble on that guy, even if he doesn't have the right measurables.
Yeah, on Dyllon Williams first, I think him, along with DeMarcus Gardner, who I think is really getting slept on in this class, fit a size, length, and measurable standpoint. Like Lane Kiffin talked about going in the game, Kentucky. They're big on the front, and they've got a lot of length on their defense. When he says that, what he means is, big linebackers and tall and rangy corners and safeties. Dyllon Williams and DeMarcus Gardner both have that, and I think it makes up for a little bit. Like a guy like Andrew Purcell is 5'9". Mm-hmm. If he was 5'11", he would be committed to Georgia, Ohio State, or Oregon, or name your blue. Mm-hmm. Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama. He would probably be committed to one of those schools. And so
he got a nice little ratings bump,
and he got a nice big rankings bump. He's a heck of a player. And again, these are the type of players, Nick, traditional SEC front print. Dyllon Williams, Alabama, towards the Mississippi border. DeMarcus Gardner in Georgia, Cedartown, and then Enterprise, Alabama for Andrew Purcell. You've got to go and win these in these traditional SEC footprints. So I like that. I like the get for Kentucky. I think it's clear safety for them. You can see the potential at becoming a really good tackler. He's long, tall, and can move a little bit. Really long strider, can cover a lot of ground. So you see why they like them. And then to beat, you're beating out Missouri to get him. Gardner, you're beating out Ole Miss to get him. So some good wins within your conference. And then on Montavin Quisenberry, Nick, I think there was a numbers issue at receiver. I think Kentucky made a really huge play for Andrew Marsh, top 100 recruit out of Texas with the Kill Shorts. His relationship there, and I think Kentucky always felt that they could get Quizenberry if they turned up the heat at some point. But I also think that the new 105 scholarship rule that still needs to officially be passed, but preliminary. The wheels are in motion now officially. That made it like, all right, let's go ahead and get this done. And again, there are size concerns. He's tiny. Like, draw on the tape, he's small. Like, you can see
Mhm.
he's really small. He's small against Kentucky high school players. So when he gets out there in Kentucky's practice field, he's going to be very, very small. So that's something to just keep in mind here. And, can his athleticism, his wiggle, his short area burst, quickness, and toughness, can all that translate to an SEC atmosphere? That's something TBD. We'll see. But he is a generator with the football in his hands, and to me, that's what I want from a slot receiver. Every time Kentucky's recruiting a slot receiver, Adam Luckett's checklist, that might not be very important, but it's mine. I want to see a guy with the football in his hands. He makes people miss. He breaks tackles. He runs through people, and he turns 3-yard passes into 50-yard gains consistently on his tape. You should see that. And I think there's that with Quizenberry. I like that he plays running back. I like that he shows some short area bursts and vision and feel at running back. You see some of his football instincts. I like that he's a top returner. I like that they put him at quarterback, and trust him to make plays. He's a playmaker. He's a generator, and that typically translates to football. If you're a badass with the football in your hands and you can score in high school, you've got a decent chance to be a badass with the football in your hands at the next level. And so from that aspect, I like it. But again, he is tiny, and so does that all translate? And what's the top end speed? But I do like that he's got bursts, he's got wiggle, he can make you miss. He shows toughness. I think, playing running back at his size, even in high school, I think there's some toughness to him. I like that they let him throw the ball, like that let him return punts, kicks. He plays two ways. He plays safety. There's a lot to like there with him, and I think it was a smart move to take him specifically. I mean, it's a no-doubter to me with the new rules. Like, just go ahead and take him.
I don't know if you're using this play, but go to the two in your film room. Go to 240 on his highlight reel, and it is the 2-minute 40-second mark. It's playing. They're in the Bowling Green bowl, whatever, Rafferty's bowl, and the spin move he has in traffic is just gnarly. Like, you're like, what? And he kind of rolls off of somebody with his back. And then when they're pursuing him because they think he's just running the pylon, he just skirt and cuts back and gets the end zone. It's a sick play. Like, he has a couple of those in there where you're just like, oh, and he's doing this in traffic. He's a fun football player. In Blue County, they're a wagon. Justin Haddix has him rocking and rolling. Former, I always get it mixed up. It's Rockcastle County, right? Is that where he was?
No, he told you. You said Rockcastle County too.
I said it last time, and it's Breathitt. It was Breathitt.
Yeah.
I don't know how I always knew it was Breathitt, and I said Rockcastle to his face like a big dingus. But they've won 4 straight, and they're going for 5, so they're really crushing it right now. So those are your 2 commitments this week. They're up to 20 now. The Cats class ranks 23rd in the country. There's a couple other people. I believe Michael Skinner's announcing next week, and that one's
22nd, I believe. Yeah.
So that's kind of a Kentucky, South Carolina race. He's been up here twice. He's been there a couple of times. So I've got a pick in him for the 4-star tight end up at Kentucky. So we'll see about that. But yeah, we're getting our mid-season recruiting bump. One you can certainly expect at least one point in the year.
23rd overall in On3's class ranking, 21st in average star rating. Getting it done.
Pretty good.
Good class. We're getting it done recruiting-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see come December what kind of surprises maybe Vince Marrow and Eric Wolford, what kind of tricks maybe they have up their sleeve. Because, there's always a couple sneaky candidates that arrive come December. So that'll be interesting to see. But they're doing a good job. Talent accumulation is in the best spot to me, Nick, year to year it's been in the Stoops era. That's way down the list of problems to me. They're doing a really good job, I think, of recruiting, getting players, and then I think the NIL situation is in good shape too. So that plays in big with the portal stuff. So talent accumulations, I don't be down on that or don't worry about that. I think they're in a really good spot as of right now.